This video is sponsored by Callsign Coffee Company. Order coffee from this veteran-owned small business and use code ZARFLING for 10% off your order.
That Crown of Providence, if I'm looking at the right one on TCG Player, it's $140.
Books, games, fun.
Welcome, dwellers. Travis here, a typical Zarfling. This is the first episode in a series I'm calling Cards and Coffee Comments, in which I have guests to discuss something that we have in common, trading card games. Later in a little bit, we'll discuss why coffee's in the name. The first guest is a friend of mine I made on Twitter named Brad. He's into Magic the Gathering, specifically a common rarity format. I also happen to like this format. So we're going to discuss a different game, Flesh and Blood. I like this game, but apologies ahead of time to others that do, because just because I like it doesn't mean I know much about it, and you're going to find that out pretty soon. But I've been having fun collecting the packs, working on some decks, trying to get out and get some games with people whenever I can, but I'm not experienced at all. But I like the newest set, Uprising, and I'm going to show Brad the cards and specifically highlight some of the commons. A reason why this is Cards and Coffee Comments, each episode will bookend with a discussion about coffee. Now, I'm a big fan of coffee. The roots of the name Zarfling has to do with coffee. I'm going to ask Brad a question, though, and you're going to get the answer to this question at the end of our discussion. Brad, do you like coffee? Why or why not? So here we go. We're going to have fun here with a discussion about some Flesh and Blood cards. Yeah. And I've got a buddy of mine who I've had fun talking with on Twitter and Discord. Brad knows a good amount about Magic, but is not very well versed in Flesh and Blood. So what I thought would be fun is to 0%. Kind of discuss it as much as I know about the one game and kind of bridge the gaps and have fun with the thread throughout the discussion being the common cards that we find in both, because you and I like formats that use common rarity cards. So if you don't mind, just give me a brief discussion of your background. Introduce yourself, if you could, for everyone that's watching.
Yeah, sure. Brad Drac V, Brad Van Hook, whatever you know me as, Drac V sometimes. Basically, kind of been in and out of Magic the Gathering since its inception, 30 years ago now. In and out of the game, did that whole thing where I was in it for a while, sold out, got back in it, sold out, got back in it, did that whole song and dance for a few years. But the last few years, I've been pretty hardcore into it, and I discovered the Pauper format about 2016 or so, and I just dove right in. Like, it was something I loved about it. It was accessible to everybody, the community, the Pauper community as a whole, both online and the local shops seemed really strong, really connected. So I was immediately like enamored with it. I was sold from the get-go, and so I focused on pretty heavily on competitive 60 card Pauper, both in paper and a little bit online. And then obviously the world fell apart, pandemic hit, everything went to digital online stuff. I played MTGO Pauper for a long time, and then I don't really know what happened exactly. I sort of woke up one day and realized that 60 card hyper competitive meta game just isn't really what I wanted to do. So I sort of made the next evolution into Pauper Commander, which is basically just like it sounds. It's a common only version of EDH, where your commander is an uncommon creature, but pretty much just about everything else is the same. And it's really opened my eyes to a lot of cards that I forgot about, a lot of archetypes that can be brewed. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So that's kind of my condensed Magic resume.
Yeah, I like it for that reason too. You'll look at cards you never really considered before.
Yeah, like
what some people
they
call
wouldn't
bulk,
be. They wouldn't be playable at all in like a tournament, but you put them in a PDH deck and they're all stars all of a sudden.
yeah, and they cast a whole new light. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what I've been finding fun about Flesh and Blood, as we'll discuss here, is there is also a growing format that uses common rarity cards.
Okay.
It's a little different, of course, because it's a different game, but the
Yeah.
premise is pretty much the same. What I think would be fun to do is kind of discuss it as we go. So what I'll start doing as best as I can is I'll give a very vague, so I don't mess anything up, description of how you play the game. And then I'll show you the cards. I've got some cards here from the newest set called Uprising, and then I even have a pack that I've kept sealed up. I've not opened yet, which I think would be fun
Cool.
for us to go through. And then
Yeah,
we'll
it's
kind of
always
look
fun.
at the common cards as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like fun.
So let's see here if you're able to view everything. These cards look clear to you.
Yeah, they're upside down, but I can see them.
Oh, they are. How about now?
Oh, perfect.
Good. I'm left-handed, so
Yeah,
I'll
same
blame,
here.
I'll blame the camera, not me. The cards here, then, what I'm going to show you first, that's a good one. Let's set that one aside, are the heroes. So Flesh and Blood is a hero-centric, primarily one-on-one game. Now, there is a multiplayer format we'll get into a little bit. So what you do when you play the game, let me set these over here, is you start with your hero. So you have your fantasy genre stuff, right? You got your heroes and your classes. And so what Flesh and Blood does is you have a hero that has a class, and then it's gone in a little bit deeper in the more recent sets and introduced talents. And so along with the class, you have a talent. So take, for example, this wizard named Kano, right? So he's a wizard, and he also has two versions. Most every hero has two versions. Now, what you can compare it to would be like, say, you play a regular game of EDH in Magic, right? You have a different life total than if you play PDH. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, EDH is 40 starting life and PDH is 30.
So you have the hero here in the bottom right says 30. The young version, 15. See how you got the different versions, right? So the only difference with the heroes of Flesh and Blood, their abilities, everything that they do is the same. It's just when you play the young one, you have half as much life. Most every hero has a starting amount is their full, adult version of 40. And then the young version has half as much of 20. Kano being an exception. There's a couple that have a little bit less life, right? So you have most every hero. You got a ninja here, and then their young version. Really cool looking heroes, right? This guy that I showed here, he's a brute. So they usually have like a full name as an adult, and then their younger name, Reinar, right? This guy, Katsu, ninja. Same abilities as his young version. Now, when you go into the Monarch set, which was released a couple of years ago, they started introducing the talents. So then here, this is not just a warrior; it's a light warrior. And then, the young version of Bolton. This is not just an illusionist; it's a light illusionist. Oh. And so what happens is you start mixing your cards together to make a deck, and now you're including cards that are either generic, as in anyone can use them, or specific to the illusionist class. Well, now with the talent, you can also add in light cards or light illusionist cards. So it starts adding a little bit of restriction, and also you can start tailoring your deck more, because this Guardian is just your regular Guardian, right? Bravo is a popular one, right? But then you get to this one from a very recent set called Tales of Aria. Now this is an elemental Guardian. So this regular Guardian cannot use elemental talent cards, but this one can. So it gets to where you start narrowing down, and there still are benefits. You can get some good use of the ones that don't have the talents. A lot of them are really good. And then sometimes you'll see here the clear difference. You can see a little bit of the lore. Oh, that was a weapon on the other side, though. These are token, cards, because everybody needs a hero and a weapon. So some of the weapons are more available, others are more rare. But you can see as you look into the lore of the game, Oldham's younger here, older there. So it's kind of fun as you learn about the lore as they progress through their own story and the overall story of Flesh and Blood, like why they're they're looking a little different in these regards, right?
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
yeah, all of the heroes are a lot of fun. What people do is they pick a certain play style they like. Maybe they like the brute, maybe they like the illusionist, certain
Hmm.
things, and then some classes are more abundant than others. But it's now getting to be where just about every class has multiple heroes. So you're not really limited like it was for a while. Kano was the only wizard. Well, I don't have this new one that came out, but there's now a new wizard named Phi, and
Okay.
Phi is a draconic, or excuse me, I showed you Kano. I'm talking about the ninja here. So it used to be Akatsu as the only ninja. There's rumor of a future draconic character. It's a draconic wizard, but currently there's only the ninja Katsu. But now with a new set, the multiple heroes, because now you can start tweaking things. So what we'll do is go into the cards from the Uprising set, as I was talking about, and as like I said, you play hero versus hero, with the exception of their multiplayer format. It's a one-on-one. As one hero attacks, the other blocks, as they're defending. Right, you're going back and
Right.
forth. Ultimate Pit Fight is their multiplayer version of the game, right? Kind of like how
Okay.
you play Commander, 4 players. UPF, as it's called, Ultimate Pit Fight, is where you can attack as if they're like in a pit fighting it out.
Right.
When you play the game, you have different weapons and equipment. That's something I'm failing to explain. But when I was showing Bravo, I think Bravo has a token. You have these weapons where you can equip before you even start your hero.
Sure.
So as Oldham. Oldham has an ability of frostbite. You can equip, and then here's a weapon. This weapon is actually for a ranger named Lexi. And so you can equip your weapons before you even start fighting. Then you equip all of your equipment. So you're basically getting your warrior prepared. And you'll have a sideboard. And so when you find out you're fighting a wizard, Oldham's like, oh, I'm fighting Kano. I might want to get some stuff that helps me against arcane damage.
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
kind of stuff. So you kind of get all your weapons and equipment together. I don't have all the weapons out here, but as with Magic, there are weapons that are, like I said, token, common, rarity. And then there's some that are like much more rare in the rarity. As with Flesh and Blood, it goes, rare, super rare, but they've got common as well. And then they get up to where it's legendary is more rare, and it gets to be like any other trading card game. So you're fighting it out, and then you're tweaking your deck to where you might have a few on the sideboard. Their classic construction format is their main format for like all the tournaments, but their blitz constructed format is meant, like it implies, to be a much faster game, and it's been gaining popularity. So
yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, blitz is your quicker game. That's what I prefer over the classic constructed, because when you construct a blitz deck, you have just the young one, you have fewer cards. It's for a quicker game.
Okay.
So when you're looking at all these from the newest set, Uprising, here's where I'm going to start shutting up, and I'm going to get your input, right? So first off, what do you think of all the heroes? I think they're pretty cool. As you think about Magic and all the lore and all the years that have gone into it, you can kind of see how just these few, they're putting some thought into the game, I would think, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they definitely thought a lot about the story itself, and not just pumping out another card game. It looks like there's actually some development behind it. A decent amount of lore. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, there's a world of Wraith that everything is set in, and then all the different realms are kind of like not necessarily like, I guess you can call nations, but they're just like different areas where these different people reside. So it's really cool as you see the game, knowing that the world of Wraith has these different realms within it, and then you start seeing like, okay, Tales of Aria had these characters, the elemental ones, but you're like, oh, I hope they visit this new area. And then sure enough, a new set comes out and they visit another realm, and you start seeing new types of heroes come out. So yeah, Uprising is the new one, and you can see how different stuff starts looking. A bunch of fire here, but they also have some ice. Yeah. So when you look at these cards, you'll see in the bottom corner. You kind of see how there's a little blue R in the bottom? I don't know if you see
Yes.
that. Okay, so we'll set those aside, right? Because we're not
Mhm.
considering that. We're talking about common rarity cards, you and I, right?
Yeah,
This dragon's
absolutely.
really cool. What you can do is, as the illusionist, you can invoke these dragons. It's a really cool ability. But
Mhm.
not this dragon, because that's a rare one. So
Right.
um, what's fun though, and here's the weapon I was talking about, right? Or the equipment rather. So check out, I don't know if you can see how it kind of shines.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so they have a really cool foiling ability on these cards. So this is generic equipment for the legs, right? You see that? So that
Yep.
means any hero can wear these. And it is a common card. You see in the bottom, a little gray C in the text where you always have the credit. So
Yeah.
we can use that in commoner. Now, commoner, in my drawn out comparison to Magic, would be like Popper and
Sure.
Magic. Fairly accurate depiction with the name being as it is, right?
All right.
It's getting to be where it's more popular as Magic's been around. What's having its 30th anniversary this year. Flesh
Hmm.
and Blood is only a few years old, but it's been growing and been supporting a strong following with tournament play and all this, right? So as it's getting more sets out and there's a deeper game with more breadth and depth, the common cards are becoming more available and the commoner format's getting stronger. So what's
Right.
fun
Makes
is
sense.
looking at all these common cards. I want to ask you a little side note question, get to know a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Brad, pop quiz. What is your favorite type of popper deck and why?
I love pretty much anything that is enchantment based.
Yep.
Heroic, anything where I can just stack a whole bunch of enchantments on my creature and go to town, a Voltron style deck, if you
Oh,
will.
nice.
Um, but yeah, I'm down for any sort of enchantment or a shenanigans. They're usually pretty weak because just the design of enchantments and auras as they are is kind of weak. They're kind of fragile to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's usually a boom or bust kind of deck.
Oh,
But yeah,
right.
those are definitely my favorite styles.
I think there's a term for that I kind of like hearing is glass cannon.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
kind
I
of, yeah.
like playing decks, where people admit that it's a glass cannon. And I
Yep.
don't like try to break it or anything, but it's kind of see how it's
Win or lose,
going.
it'll
It's
be
fun to see them do
spectacular.
that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I enjoy that too. It's like I said, it's a delicate composition, I think, of all the cards in your deck to make that work effectively, which to me seems like a fun way to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of what you said, actually it came to mind. We're looking at this another common card, right? So this Icebind, and to go a little bit more about how you play, there's no lands in this. There's as a way to cast energy, as we call mana in Magic, right?
Hmm.
What you do is the top left, you'll see those three dots,
Yeah.
and on the top right, you see a zero, right?
Yep.
So that is how you play the card and how you cast the card. So one of these cards here is either zero to play it, as it's shown right here,
Hmm.
or you can pitch it to pay the cost for another card, and you'll get three. What would be kind of like the equivalent of mana in Magic. You get three pitch cost. So
Okay.
if you're
Makes
playing
sense.
a card where it might cost something to play, like here, there's a one in the top right, and you're to pitch this one, it costs two. So if you were to pitch this one that has a three pitch cost, you have two remaining after you play this card,
Yep.
presuming
That
you
makes
can go
sense.
again. So
Hmm.
yeah, you see
Right.
how it works. Every card has a pitch value and a pitch
Yeah.
cost.
So almost on every turn, you can kind of quote unquote combo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, there are cards that say go again, like this one here, and that's where you use your remaining uh, value of the pitch. As here's the people who know the game much better now will probably be pulling out their hair how poorly I'm describing the game. But when you see it say
Right.
go again on there, that's where you can do the combos like you're talking about. Um, but what's cool about it is when you're blocking, like I said, you're attacking player with your hero either attacking or you're the
Hmm.
defending player if it's the other player's turn you're defending, right? So when you go to
Right.
use the same card, if it's not your turn, if it's the other player's turn, see how on the bottom right there's that three with a shield?
Yes.
That now becomes how much you can use this same card to block with.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, you're attacking with Dunebreaker Senpai or Senpai. The bottom left, you see the 3 there. You're attacking. It attacks for 3.
Hmm.
Never minding all the details of the card, right?
Right.
But you're using it on your turn as the player. You're blocking with this card. It's not doing any of this. It's simply becoming a way to block. You block as the players are attacking and blocking. So this is another common card.
Yep.
And so it has a cool ability. So what we're doing here, as we're concerning common, you can see read the ripples as a wizard. This here was a draconic illusionist. So you can already tell with your knowledge and background of Pauper and Magic that they're putting thought into not just the heroes and the classes and the talents, but they're mixing up even just the commons. Icebind, common. So that way, when you're building your decks, you can add some variety. It's not going to be so samey, thinking that every card's just attack for X amount. I mean, this one common, it's 3 arcane damage, but arcane damage itself, is separate from your regular damage.
Right.
So the Ice Wizard is a fun character, just was expanded upon in this set. Here's a Draconic Ninja, common Ronin Renegade. Ninjas are fun because they have a lot of go again. So even though you see here that it just says go again and nothing else, when you talked before about the chain, you're constantly, because you're a ninja, you're attacking a whole bunch, right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. You kind of lining up a bunch of attacks. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas someone like this guy, and I'm going to butcher this for the people that love Oldham, but he doesn't do as much. He's more about slowing down the other player.
Yeah.
He uses, if I see it on here, his frostbite ability. So this frostbite slows players down, but the ninjas are really quick, right? So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, everybody's got their pros and cons, and there's a meta that's like very meticulously monitored and adjusted, and it's really cool to see how they'll ban cards in certain formats. They'll release new cards for other heroes. They'll do things that will continually balance the meta, so people aren't feeling like their choice of a certain class or hero is being neglected or is overpowering everyone else.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. That's always good.
Yeah. So question number 2, if I may, what do you feel is the current strength in playing Pauper in Magic the Gathering?
Well, I think it's actually 2 things. From outside the game, it's obviously the most affordable way to play Magic. Most decks, 60 card, even some of the PDH, the 100 card Pauper Commander decks you can get for $30, $25. If you want to throw sleeves and a fancy deck box in there, you're looking at $40 total. You're in, you'll have hours of fun. But I think its real power is in the cards itself. It was forever in the game. Wizards didn't really, trying to look for the right word, but they didn't really curate the commons as well. They sort of like built them for the limited environment, and they worked with their own set, and they did this and that. Well, that did lead to some busted, some overpowered ones. But, in the last few years, they've done this fire design, which they want the limited environments to be more playable, more interesting. Replayability is one of the R in fire, and exciting. And that's led to a lot of downshifts, a lot of really strong power creeps happening at all rarities. But I think it also leads to very interesting cards, very interesting commons. Pauper was always kind of a place you would go to brew because there were so many cards. The card pool was so deep. But I think now it's even more interesting because, they'll print a card 15 years ago that would only go in like 1 or 2 decks maybe, but now they'll print a good cantripping white creature and that'll fit in 5 different decks.
Yeah.
So I think just the options at common have grown exponentially, and that's part of the fun too, just being able to kind of play with what you want, how you want, the archetype you like.
It does seem like it's a lot more freeing than I remember even from playing way back in my initial summer, being introduced to Magic in the 90s. Like, that one summer before I decided to step away and I returned many years later. It seems like even just the commons are a lot more varied than before.
They are, and they're a lot stronger too, which does lead to some broken metas, now and then. Like the current MTGO Pauper meta is not the healthiest, but I'm sure
Really?
it's a blast because it's all Kiln Fiend decks and combo decks and super
Yeah.
aggressive stuff.
Yeah, but it does seem like they're paying more attention to it now because I think there's actually a group that's affiliated with Wizards that looks into commons
Yeah, the
as
PFP.
being part of the Pauper format. So that's good.
Yep.
So here's that wizard I mentioned you before. This wizard's name is Icelander. Now here is the full, and then usually that's why I figured they would have the young version on that back there. So Icelander is a very powerful wizard. Now I mentioned before, for a while they only had, and here's what I was thinking of, they only had Kano, right? But now they've got Icelander. And so you can kind of see like, oh, I've been playing Kano for a while. Maybe I want to get into the elemental stuff because I've been playing Oldhim.
Sure.
And now you can start mixing and matching and tailoring your deck to where you want to try a little bit of elemental stuff, right?
So, yeah, and I can see how they put a lot of thought into like the synergies and compatibilities between the different cards and classes and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So what we'll do next, as you can see here, we got a good variety of cards. I wanted to show one opened. Now this looks a little strange for a booster pack, right? Being open like this, but what Legend Story Studios has been introducing to the card market is a recyclable booster pack.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Totally paper,
I saw something on Twitter about that. That's a hell of an idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I had the employee at the local game store I like. It's called Night Watch Games in San Antonio. Really cool store. Open it, and I said, open it any way you want. He was tearing across the top. He thought it was the coolest thing. Yeah. So we've got more cards here. We can always discuss later. But what I want to do next, and here you can kind of see how they have a good variety. Stiletto steel, or excuse me, silent stilettos right here. This is a card that actually I'm looking to put into a deck of mine, Transmogrify, which I think is the name of a Magic card.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I mean, once in a while you're going to get that, but you have a good amount of the Aether Ashwing is a really good card for the. It's kind of like a staple card for the illusionist because she turns ash. She uses the ash to conjure the dragons.
Oh,
so
nice.
Really cool.
Okay.
So what we'll do here to cap things out is you can see some really cool cards of all sorts of varieties. However, with Uprising, it's mainly the ninjas, the illusionists, and the wizards that benefited from that set. But this is a new set or a new pack from the set that I've not even opened. So while it's going to contain any of those three, we don't know what the rare card is, right? It's always fun to figure out what the rare card is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, love cracking packs.
Yeah, cracking packs, and then you can kind of crack it however you want here, which is kind of fun because this one just opens in any way possible. It almost looks strange to me when I first saw it open up like that. I was like, wait, you can just rip it open? So
you just rip it?
Yeah, just like a paper pack would be ripped.
Yep.
Waning Moon is a cool wizard weapon I've not heard of before. So here's Dromai. Now I have the illusionist hero Dromai. So I'm looking to build, like I said, with that other card I had mentioned before, a Dromai deck. I think she's really cool that she can conjure dragons.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
Yeah. They all have this thing where if they get hit with a certain power as you're doing the phantasm, it's a whole thing. But yeah, like with anything, it gets all, and it's a kind of complicated deck, and I'm very naive in this game, so I'll probably get my butt kicked a whole bunch, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So here we got some really cool cards. Let's see, Rapid Reflex, a cool ninja card. Strategic Plan. Now some of those are rares, right? We can use Billowing Mirage and conjure. And what's fun too is like look at the really cool foil with the dragon.
Yeah, they do a good job of the foiling.
Yeah, they make sure to do the foiling. They've got rainbow foil and cold foil. They have two types of foil. They use the cold foil, like the really rare ones.
Oh,
Brand with Cinder Claw. It's a mean looking ninja one. What is cool about this though is, this one's really cool. I got a legendary one, right? I was just going to mention, you get all these different cards, and sometimes you'll get a really cool looking card, and it's a common. So they are not skimping on the quality of any of these cards. I mean, there's awesome artwork as you can see throughout.
Yeah, the artwork's killer.
Yeah. And when you get the Blitz packs, they're kind of like pre-constructed commander decks for the Blitz format. You'll get Dromai looking all shiny, kind of like how the
Oh,
Cinder Skin
nice.
Devotion is. So I'm
Okay.
looking
So
forward to
they do
getting that.
make they do make precons, like pre-constructed
Yeah.
decks.
Yeah,
Cool.
I didn't mention that before, but when you want to get in a game, as I highly recommend you do, you go to your local game store and you get yourself a Blitz deck, which is anywhere, like I would say on average, $12. It's not much. It's
Yeah.
just 12
Right.
$12 for a 40 card deck that includes also the hero, her weapon or weapons if they have, two single-handed weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And like with Bolton, he has these two axes, it's really or hatchets. So then the equipment. So when you play, your restrictions are that you have a 40 card deck, and then you have your equipment and your weapons.
Okay.
But yeah, you get your Blitz deck, and you start out $12, and it's already good to play out of the deck, deck of cards, and you can sit down and play with experienced people. What's really cool about the community is I came in and I just bought a Blitz deck right there, and I sat down with someone who was heavily invested in the game already with
Mm-hmm.
the time that they spent. And he said, let me grab one of my decks. And we just sat and played. He talked about it. And next time we met, he gave me a whole bunch of common cards. He's like, here, you want to go through these and, tweak your deck? Have at it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Went to another store and same thing. Some people gave me what they call bulk. And that's kind of what led me into playing, the common rarity format. Because commoner, I've got several common cards. So here's this Crown of Providence, and then you'll see we'll finish things off. We would not be using this in commoner, but it's got that cool L right there. This is a generic equipment for the head. So this crown might even be worth some money. I don't know. That's why I'm kind of trying to handle it a little nicely here. But
yeah,
right as I'm sitting there, people might be like, "Oh no, that's a whole bunch of money." I don't know.
Put it in
I'll
a
get on
sleeve.
TCG Player and look it up later. But yeah,
All right.
there are some really cool cards here. So what do you think? My final question to you, Brad. What do you think of the game Flesh and Blood from what you've seen so far from this very vague and naive description? What do you think of the game?
No, I think you did a just fine the description. This is, if we were sitting across the table at an LGS, I would expect the same kind of description, and then the next step would just be, okay, here's a deck. Let's play with what Let's see how it goes. But no, it seems really cool. The artwork's awesome. I love that it's on the surface. If you were just to stumble across these cards, it looks complicated.
Oh yeah, it does.
But even with your description, it makes total sense how you can kind of chain them together. There doesn't seem to be a lot of like Magic's a crazy game to learn. Like the rules are so deep. This doesn't seem like that on the surface, which I like. Like it seems very accessible from like a learn to play standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then growing up, I played a lot of role playing and stuff. I love the fact that not only does it have equipment and weapons, it has very specific, like the crown you pulled, like that's for your head. Like crowns are for your head, and they have pieces for the legs and probably for the hands and all that kind of stuff. So that's really intriguing to me. It seems very rich in that fantasy kind of role playing setting too. So I don't know. Overall, it's very appealing to me.
Yeah, well, I'd encourage you to check it out, even if next time you see someone at your game store playing it, just to sit down and take a look, because I think it's cool because it's a good alternative to playing Magic.
It seems like
Magic a great game. This is a great game. They're two totally different types of games.
Yeah, and that's what I like too. Is there's been so many collectible card games or TCGs, whatever you want to call them, that have come and gone because they were just trying to be Magic imitators.
Yep.
I don't really see that on the surface from Flesh and Blood. They've done a good job of becoming like their own standalone game. I like that.
Yeah, it is. It's distinct. And what's cool about Blitz is if you're sitting there waiting for a new pod to get started, it can be a quick game of 1-on-1 as you're waiting to get a new game of Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, Brad. It's great getting to be able to sit and talk with you like this.
Of course, I'm glad we finally got to do it.
Yeah, that too. Glad we're able to sync up our schedules. But this being a new thing, I'm glad you're receptive to learning about the game, and I'm able to talk with one that's a big fan of Magic as am I about a fun game that I've been enjoying. So yeah, thanks again for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Let me know if you want to do it again sometime.
Will do. Have a good one.
All righty. See ya.
Bye.
Do I like coffee? I like caffeine. Yeah, I think I like coffee. I'm not a huge fan of hot coffee. not a hot beverage person in general, but have definitely been coming around to cold brews lately. We've even started making some of our own. It's delicious, but yeah, I think what it boils down to is the caffeine. And typically, coffee is the quickest caffeine delivery I have found so far. So I think I'm medium on coffee, leaning towards yes.